What is up, Mission Pro Wrestling family? Welcome to another edition of Unmatched. I am Front Row. Joining with me tonight is Trenda, all the way out on the West Coast. What's up, my friend?
Hey, nothing much. Yeah, just a week full of wrestling. Just a lot of wrestling this week.
There's a lot going on, and we're coming off the heels of a very exciting weekend in San Antonio for Kickstart My Heart. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. Want to give a shout out to Emily May, who's out on assignment tonight, so she'll be joining us
Hey.
back in the driver's seat next week. But wanted to give her a shout out. Um, so this week was crazy. We were just to give you guys a brief rundown. If you want to get a full rundown of the card for Kickstart My Heart and match by match breakdown, Emily and Veda did a great job on Tuesday on the On a Mission podcast. So go check that out. We're going to hit some of the topics that we really enjoyed about the show. But I also wanted to just share with folks who maybe weren't able to be there in San Antonio in person how cool it is to be at the Mission Pro shows and how exciting it is. Some of the behind the scenes stuff, but also just being live at the show. The energy at the show is so incredible. Even even at this show, during setup, we had set all the chairs up and everything in preparation for the show, and we set a lot of chairs up. I don't remember the exact number, but it was an awful lot. As the day was progressing on Saturday, and there was the VIP meet and greets, and people were starting to filter in, more and more people arrived to the point where we had to keep adding more and more rows. So
Wow.
we had a very full room, and the energy was terrific. The Mission Pro crowd is always brings their energy, their boos, their cheers, and it was a whole lot of fun. So if
You
you
can,
have the opportunity to go in person, I highly recommend it.
well, I wasn't able to be there in person, but you could definitely feel the energy coming through on the screen. I did see it on Title Match, so I watched it and I enjoyed all the matches. But the crowd sound really lively. You could tell that they were all involved, and you can see the room was packed. It was a lot of people there compared to when I was just there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and my wife, Mrs. Front Row, points out that there were a lot of younger people, a lot of kids, a lot of young girls who were seeing some really strong representation, and it was just really cool to see. Although I do have to say, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but Boss Baines is not for the children. Boo.
Boo! Boo! I could have hit him through the screen.
I was too far away. I couldn't do anything.
Okay.
um
Ah,
so yeah, so just we did the setup on Friday, and it's just an amazing crew that puts this show together for all of the folks behind the scenes that work to make the magic happen. Everyone from the Mission Pro team to the hybrid School of Wrestling students who came over on Friday afternoon and spent a lot of time doing ring setup and all that other stuff. It's a lot of effort, and just it's pretty cool to see everything come together, which they do every show. And then of course Saturday was a lot of fun in the event itself. So why don't we talk about a couple of the things from that show that maybe you and I want to give our perspectives on. So where do you want to start?
um, let's see. I think for me, I thought that the Ultraviolet and MJ Santana match, it was the first female match on the card. And for me, for them being in the ring, I thought they had great chemistry. I like them just the hard hitting and fast paced they had going, and to be a starter match, I thought they really set the pace for the rest of the evening. It was a great match to start between these two ladies.
Yeah, I agree. And MJ Santana is obviously, she's been with Mission Pro. She's been on previous shows. This was Ultraviolet's first Mission Pro appearance, and I think she knocked it out of the park. She, we had a chance to spend some time with her this weekend. She's very, very nice, very outgoing. But once that bell rings, man, she's all business and like hard hitting, very, very good paced match. I really hope to see more of her on our Mission Pro shows. But I also want to give her a big shout out because she was on AEW Dark this week against Diamante, which is really cool.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the Mission Pro talent are starting to just sprout out there and starting to see them everywhere and all kinds of different promotions. Congratulations to her.
Yep, they are everywhere.
All right. So if I was to move on to another match, I would have to say we'd have to mention the match with Gigi Reyes and Lady Bird Monroe, which are the Money Birds, versus Vicious and Delicious, Claudia and Shiva. Because this match had very important outcome because it determined who would be number one contenders against Bougie Reality. So this match, yeah, it was very important in its own right, but I felt like as a tag match, it was a very good match. I have not seen four set of women who really clicked together in the ring and as a tag team. And I think for I believe it was Gigi and Lady Moreau's first time actually working together, but in this match you couldn't tell. They had great chemistry, but against two women being Vicious and Delicious, who are very dominant in the ring. I mean, I'm watching it over the television, and I saw some hits and some slaps that just were like, oh, I couldn't even imagine seeing it or being there in person. What do you think?
Yeah, and yes, to your point, a lot of those chops you could hear throughout the venue. You could probably hear it outside the venue. And that sort of goes back to our earlier conversations about Holoded's Chop Night. This was
yeah,
a match full of some serious chops.
I felt like that as I was watching the show. I'm like, oh my God, Chop Night has continued. This is just we're I don't know where we're at now. Probably what, the 27, 28. Like, yeah.
I lost count, man. It was a
Well,
lot, but yeah. So the Moneybirds. It was interesting to see them team up because, like you say, you never know how folks are going to work together. There was chemistry there. They still have some things to work out if they're going to be a cohesive team, because to go up against Bougie Reality, I got my Bougie
yeah.
Reality shirt on tonight.
Okay.
That's a tall task. And Bougie Reality is a good example too, because over a year ago when they teamed up for the first time, I think folks weren't sure if that was going to work out as a tag team, and they've proven everybody either wrong or right depending on what your perspective is on it. But they have really gelled as a team, and I will tell you, and if you're in the venue and you happen to get a chance to talk to them, if you don't mind waiting in their incredibly long merch line. And props to them, because that merch line was so long that we ended up, Mission Pro had to eventually cut the line so that they could close the venue at the end of the night.
Wow.
It was insane. They are so ridiculously popular with the Mission Pro crowd. It's a testament to the work that they've done, and what they've built as tag team champions. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, they're definitely over. They're definitely over.
Yeah.
So, but in this match, Moneybirds came out the winner, which I was totally not expecting at all. I mean, they worked great together in the ring. They were really fast paced, which they had to be against the team that they were going against. I mean, there was some very, very strong women. And but they came out on top, and they are now the new number one contenders for a chance at Bougie Reality.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see when that team up happens, or when that matchup happens, rather, and who's going to emerge victorious. But also, we're starting to see more tag teams form within the Mission Pro shows and within the roster. There's a tag team division that's coming into focus, and that could be this year, could be a lot of competition on the horizon for Bougie Reality. So I'm excited to see what happens in the tag division.
Definitely. It's growing, is getting bigger, and there's a lot of ladies out there in line waiting for those belts. So we'll see. Okay, so Next match that I really, really enjoyed was the Misty Marks and the Danny Moe match. It was the match right before the main event. Um, I, I I don't know what happened with these two women. I know for sure that Misty Marks has a territorial thing going on right now, where she's all about anyone who's not from Texas needs to respect her. In a certain way, and she's been demanding that respect in and outside of the ring, because from my understanding, am I correct? Danny Moe was not supposed to be her original person to wrestle on that night.
Yeah, Danny Moe was scheduled. I believe the advertised match was Danny Moe versus Vicky Dreamboat, and we saw earlier in the day they posted videos on our social media. Vicky Dreamboat got attacked backstage, or rather in the venue, by
Mm.
Misty, and was beat down and thrown into a conference room, I think. So we did
Mm.
fortunately get to hear Vicky on commentary, and she did an outstanding job on commentary. But hopefully she recovers soon and can come back in fighting shape. But yeah, so the match that we did end up getting was Danny Moe versus Misty Marks, and man, this was a semi-main event, and it was incredibly physical. If
Very
you've
much
ever,
so.
for those who have seen Danny Moe, then Danny brings um, just a superior athleticism. She's ridiculous. If you look at her socials, the training and the stuff that she does, it's pretty incredible. So I expected what we got, but it was terrific.
Yeah, Misty March, she is definitely something, and I got a chance to see her when I was in San Antonio a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, and I got her autographed in because I told myself when I seen her, I said she's gonna be something, she's gonna be something, and I just want to be a part of just knowing who she is from the beginning. She is so dominant in that ring, and for Danny to be undefeated in Mission Pro and to have that reputation of just, always pulling through. I honestly did not think she was going to make it in this match. Misty really dominated her through all of the match, but sometimes technique it just comes out in the end. And honestly, for me, I'm looking for a round two. I think both of these women need to fight again. I would definitely pay to see that match. I would pay to come see it in person. So them two, I hope this is the beginning of a beautiful feud with them.
I agree. I wouldn't even be mad at a Danny Moe and Misty Marks and Vicky Dreamboat triple threat. I'm here for that
Hey,
too.
I'm up for that as well. But this was definitely, actually, if I had to just to pick, this was actually my favorite match. So
Okay, okay, I like it. And Danny Moe recently was on Raw not that long ago, facing Asuka, which is which is no mean feat either. But
wow.
she brought some good offense to the Empress of Tomorrow, which was really cool. So more examples of people from Mission Pro doing big things. So let's talk about this main event
Let's
because
talk
I
about
know we have some thoughts, right?
it. Uh-huh. So this main event, Bougie Reality, Rache Chanel, Maddie, and they had Jasmine Allure come in to assist them as their triple threat partner, right?
Hmm.
Against Men's Revolution, which is JP Harlow, Joey Hyler, and Boss Banks.
Yeah. So, so JP, Joey Hyder, and Boss Baines, if you've been paying attention to our socials, they've been posting a series of videos, sort of working on this men's revolution and building it from the ground up. And the videos are tremendous. They've been posting them over the last month or so, and even going into this pay-per-view. Before the pay-per-view, there was an interesting video that was sort of reminiscent of like at that 70s show where they did like the round table stuff, and it was
Mhm.
the three men we just mentioned, and at the end of their conversation, they alluded to a fourth man, and there was an empty chair. So that's still a question mark that's hanging out there. We don't know the answer to that yet, but I'll be very interested to see who that is. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about, I am a fan of intergender wrestling. There's been some incredible examples of that. Our own Thunder Rosa has been involved in some incredible matches. Go back and look at her matches with Sammy Guevara and so many other people, even in GCW. So you always want to sort of keep an eye on, like, how is a match like this going to go? And man, did Jasmine get a beat down in that corner. Holy cow.
I honestly, at some point in time, I was like, if I was her, I'd leave too. I mean, maybe it wasn't even about the, animosity that they had before. Maybe she was just like, look, I got my butt kicked over there, and I know you're supposed to stay on the mat, on the rope, on the ring. I know you're supposed to wait to be tagged in, but at some point in time, when does someone come rescue me when there are three men toddling all over me, just beating that girl? I was like, no, I'm sorry. I at some point in time, I don't know, I probably would have lost it and just said, hey, let one of y'all get beat up for now.
Yeah. So I have to wonder if the frustration for Jasmine has been building for a long time. She had some hit or miss things go on with the Renegade Twins, and it going all the way back to her very short-lived run as Mission Pro champion, which was, I think, like 2 or 3 minutes.
Champ, as our wonderful elder Monroe.
It's a little longer than 5 seconds.
I mean, just.
So we're going to have to wait and see what she has to say, afterwards. But two things really struck me about this. And anybody who watches our show, The Nation's Corner or this show, I'm a huge fan of Rache Chanel and how incredibly she's developed as a wrestler over the last couple of years. And her hot tag and the way that she came in and just started wrecking house. The room exploded. The room just erupted, and it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, she did that running knee to JP and Joey from one side of the ring to the other, and I got super excited. I jumped up at home. I was like, all right, it's about time we get some type of offense here, because it was looking really bad for a minute. But yeah, she came in there, and with her speed, just the hand, what was she doing? The hand toss, when she wouldn't release the hand and just flipped them over like 3 or 4 times consistently, and then she changed the narrative of that story instantly when she got in there. It's just a shame it didn't end well for them.
Yeah, and there's no doubt after this match that these women can hold their own in this type of situation, because as they were battling to the outside, I saw Maddie attack Joey Hyder viciously.
Yes,
it was she was just these forearms and smashes to it was pretty cool to see. So yeah, props to Maddie, props to Rache, and I guess props to Jasmine,
I
mean, she has some explaining to do. We'll see how that happens. But I did think this is a really good match. It was a great example of intergender wrestling, and this story that we're witnessing and we're living is through the men's revolution. I don't know where it's going, but I'm excited about it. I don't know what the next challenge is going to bring. Our next pay-per-view is April 22nd, and that is Edge of Glory. It'll be back in San Antonio, bell time 6 o'clock on Title Match Network, and tickets are available at missionprowrestling.com. That's going to be pretty cool. I saw the show poster come out. The graphics have been out. There's a lot of interesting names on that poster, but I have a feeling that's not everyone. So we'll have to stay tuned.
Okay.
And we'll look forward to some match announcements over the coming weeks. But overall, it was a great show. It was really fun. The energy was incredible in the room. Everybody just kicked ass, behind the camera, in the ring, everything. So kudos to everybody who worked to put that together. I did want to talk a little bit about, I actually have a graphics. We're going to talk about some news in the week of women's wrestling. Oh, I have graphics. This is so cool. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, one of the things that we are excited about is that so many people come through the doors of Mission Pro Wrestling and go on to do some pretty exciting things. They go on to either get signed by big companies or they get to be part of some special moments. And I was just looking at just this week alone, there was a whole bunch of examples of that. And I just want to start with NXT. So
Okay.
this week on NXT, Roxanne Perez and Meiko Satomura faced off against Caden Carter and Katana Chance. And they emerged victorious, as you would expect. The NXT Women's Champion and the final boss teaming up against really anybody. They're going to emerge victorious.
Yes, definitely.
But what interests me was the post match, and the post match was a show of respect. And Meiko Satomura requested a match with Roxanne. So here we are. I don't know if that's been advertised. I haven't seen any details about when that match is going to happen, but that's a big deal. So Meiko Satomura is a legend, right? We know she's just had this incredible storied career in Japan through NXT UK, and of course over here as a trainer. But there's also another interesting tie-in to Mission Pro here. Not only is Roxanne Perez, formerly Roxy, was a big part of Mission Pro early on, but Meiko Satomura's teacher, Chigusa-san, was the trainer for Masha Slamovich. So there's Masha was also on a good number of our shows early on. So it's pretty exciting. How do you feel about this upcoming match and sort of where Roxanne's headed?
Well, actually, this is gonna be something really exciting for Roxanne. You can see it in her face. The respect that she has for Mako, and the respect that they have for each other in the ring, just tagging together. So, this is an opportunity for her that she's always gonna remember. I mean, this is a legendary moment. So you can see it in her eyes. She accepted the challenge right there with a smile, and you can tell this is going to be a great match. And I do believe they said this is the match right before their WrestleMania NXT match. So this will determine who's the champ at that one. So I think it's one more big event before then. So we'll see what happens. But just as an educational piece, just as nostalgia, it's a big moment for Roxanne, and you can see that in her eyes. She's looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's crazy the year that she's had. Like the last 12 or 13 months have just been a rocket ship for her, and it's well deserved, well earned. But it's full steam ahead for Roxanne Perez. So how long before we see her on Raw or SmackDown? I don't think it's going to be all that long, but we'll have to wait and see.
No, she's definitely on her way.
Yep. Yeah. A couple other people. So Thea Hale, formerly Nikita Knight, was in a losing effort against Tiffany Stratton, but Thea used to be. She was in a match against. I'm trying to remember who she was in a match against. Oh, she was in the qualifier match for Silver Bells for our Silver Bells show a year and change ago. So another Mission Pro alum. And Fallon Henley was in a backstage with Josh Briggs. Fallon Henley, formerly Tasha Price, also Mission Pro alum. And one of my favorite people on NXT, and everybody who knows me knows this, Zoe Stark has been, since coming back from injury, she has this new attitude, and she's a bit of a problem in the locker room. And just sort of attacking people. But she was going nose to toes with JC Jane on Twitter this week. And both women are former Mission Pro talents, which is pretty cool.
Wow. I definitely love to see those two women in the ring right now, especially with JC Jane stepping up and over the last couple of weeks showing her dominance, and then she definitely was not the number 3 person in Toxic Attraction. She had a great promo this week, and yeah, I'm looking forward to everything that she's doing from this point on. Yeah.
Yeah, so JC Jane, yeah, famous this week. She was the number one topic in wrestling. That kick heard around the world,
Whoa!
where
Did
she
you
put
see
Gigi Dolan
Gigi's
into.
face?
I did. That was no joke.
Talk about
Um,
making a baby face out of somebody. That girl got nothing but pure empathy and sympathy after that kick.
yeah, but we talked about JC Jane just a few weeks ago when we covered Hell Hath No Fury. She was in a
Yep.
match against um, Alex Gracia. So more Mission Pro talent there. So and that's just NXT. That's just one show, 1 week. There's like 5 people on the show that were former talents of Mission Pro. So it's pretty cool just to see what they're doing now. Um, Not a Mission Pro talent, but somebody I wanted to get your opinion on is Asuka and what she's been doing on Raw since she's returned from Japan as her Dark Asuka, Evil Kana sort of iteration of herself. I feel like she's changed her wrestling style. It's faster paced, harder hitting, which is kind of tough to even say based on the way she used to wrestle. But I feel like we're getting the Japan version of her. We're getting the Japanese strong style version of Asuka now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just in that sense, um, the new this new improved scarier actually in a sense Asuka is just totally dominating. I can just honestly I think she's gonna be the winner in the elimination chamber. I can definitely see her going to WrestleMania and challenging Bianca and even dethroning her for that belt. That's just my opinion personally, But at the same time, this aggression that she's showing in the ring and this almost dominance aura about her that when she walks in, everybody else is just fearful. It is yeah. This Oscar right here, I can definitely see them riding a wave with her, and I hope so. I hope she takes it all the way.
Yeah, for me, I kind of want her to just run roughshod through the locker room and not be totally concerned or focused on any titles right now. Just because the character sort of lends itself to almost like if you remember when Mick Foley was doing like the boiler room brawls and stuff like that, it wasn't about the title, it was about just what crazy thing is going to happen next week. Like not
Okay.
Bray Wyatt esque, but I think that she's vicious, and I'd like to see the more violent side of her even more. Um,
Okay. Okay.
So over on SmackDown, we have Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler teaming up. I think that's good. Ronda shouldn't necessarily. Well, I would like to see Ronda and Shayna chasing those titles, the women's tag titles, which is pretty cool. I think it makes sense from a teaming perspective. Two dominant MMA stars, forming a team that could be really, really tough to beat. But what I wanted to ask you about, and I don't watch as much NWA as I used to, but there's a lot of stuff going on there right now. La Rosa Negra just was in a match last week with Angelina Love,
Yeah,
pretty
on the pre-show.
empowered, and
Hmm.
and and we have to give credit. We have to give a major shout out to former Mission Pro Tag title holders, the Renegade Twins, who are the new
Yep.
NWA Women's Tag Team
New
champions.
NWA Women Champions. Got to congratulate them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, it's pretty cool to see. And I did want to give a shout out. I did want to give some credit to Camille because Mrs. Front Row and I and some of our other friends, we've been to a lot of the NWA tapings and stuff, and we were in the room when Camille won the title over a year and a half ago. And to see her progress as a champion, her grow as a champion. Recently, we've seen her on social media training with Natty and TJ in the Heart Dungeon. I think she was at Dr. Tom's place. She's been all over the country training with some of the best people, getting better and better. So I love to see the development, and I also love to see her defending that title on. I think she defended yesterday or today. She's got a bunch of title defenses coming up. So I like a fighting champion, and I'm glad
Awesome.
to see the
Awesome.
progression.
Awesome. Yeah, because I've been to a couple of NWA shows too, and have noticed that Camille is really starting to come into herself, and I believe that if NWA continues the way they are, allowing her to go to different promotions in different places and fight, and defend that title, it just makes it more prestigious. So, I saw the match that they had this past weekend, and again, our champion Genocide was also there. But yeah, Camille has really come a long way in my eyes. I'm even more of a fan now. I can't wait to see what happens with her.
Yeah, I agree. And so I know you're a bigger fan of Impact. You tend to watch more Impact than I do, but I do catch it when I can. We did see some Mission Pro alum show up there this week.
Yes, we did. Oh my goodness.
So the Death Dolls, right? The Death Dolls they are just finished their match, and we saw
Um,
we saw an
the
emerging.
Hex. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I was
Yeah,
blanking so hard. The Hex, which I've had quite a few interactions with. I'm so sorry, but yeah, they were on Impact this week. Also, coming through Mission Pro and seeing them on NWA. Yeah, a lot of big talent this week. Just coming out and on different promotions and stepping up and being bigger stars than ever. Like I just want to, like, since pandemic, these are women. These were the pandemic teams that we saw, like, the Hex and all the Mission Pro and all the NWA women, and now it seems like everybody's on some major big promotion. Kudos to them, and just watching and seeing where they started from and where they're going. I'm really
agreed.
proud of these women.
And I think one of the biggest matches in women's wrestling that we've been talking about over the last couple of months now is this weekend at Battle of the Valley for New Japan. That pay-per-view is going to be crazy. But the match I think everyone's talking about is Mercedes Moné versus Kyrie, who is the current and first holder of the IWGP Women's Championship, which was recently minted back in November, I think, was the introduction of the title. So this is going to be interesting because Kyrie is like she is a veteran. She is an incredible wrestler, and since we've seen her wrestle back in Japan, she's really elevated her style even from what we saw during her time in WWE.
Yeah.
Mercedes Moné, formerly Sasha Banks, is also considered one of the best wrestlers on the planet. So I honestly can't pick this one. I can see this going either way. Like this
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
jump out to me.
This is definitely going to be a great match. And I don't have a preference or a choice either. I just know this is going to be a great wrestling match, not a women's match, a wrestling match. Like both of these women, I got both of my first experience with watching them in WWE. So, just watching them from there and just seeing them both in New Japan right now, just coming together like this is going to be. I can't wait to talk about the aftermath. I'm just looking forward to it. Yeah.
Agreed. Who knows? Maybe she'll roll on through Mission Pro at some point. That'd be pretty cool.
Wouldn't it be awesome?
we might need some more sponsors. Speaking of which, sponsorships are open. Check out our socials if you're interested in sponsoring a wrestler or a show or a match. There's all kinds of cool opportunities and perks to sponsorship. I do want to close the show with a couple of things that are going on. Janai Kai is facing Miya Watanabe for the Princess title over at Tokyo Joshi Pro. This is the same title that Thunder Rosa held going into the pandemic and had to relinquish due to the pandemic. She never actually lost that title. But I believe Miya Watanabe won this. If I could be wrong, maybe keep me honest, but I think she won it at the Summer Sun Princess pay-per-view where Thunder was over facing Yamashita-san. And I believe she won the title from Maki Ito. So there's a lot of tie-ins here. There's a lot of through lines going through these multiple promotions. But I know Janai Kai was really excited about, the opportunity to go there and have this match. And it was announced, I think, yesterday or the day before, Billy Starks is going to be going over and having a match in Japan as well, which I know is a big dream of hers. So
Wow.
many cool things happening.
Wow. And so many doors are just opening up. I don't know. It's like what's going on in this wrestling world, but it is so exciting. Just so many things going on and so much to watch. Just wrestling everywhere. Like if you love wrestling, there's so many different promotions to watch. There's so much going on right now. Just enjoy it. It's just a
Yeah.
lot going on.
It's really cool. I think we started calling it the Forbidden Turnstile recently because there's just so much stuff going on. And we're even seeing WWE starting to work with other companies too. We've seen them work with New
Exactly,
Japan,
which,
and
that was at one point a never. So,
they're going to be working with Booker T's Reality of Wrestling soon. So maybe that's opening the door to working with more of the independent promotions, which, hey, I'm here for. So
yeah,
let's
more
see.
independent wrestling.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think that is all I have for you folks tonight. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Make sure you tune into the socials. Stay tuned with the socials. Like, subscribe, and set your notifications. Next Tuesday, we'll return. Emily and Veda will return with another episode of On a Mission. And we will return with our normal cast of characters next Thursday for Unmatched, where we'll dive back into the archives and cover some of the exciting matches from earlier shows. Trenda, anything you want to promote? Put yourself over.
Let's see. For myself, I have on this great sensational Sherry t-shirt today representing women's wrestling. Sherry Martel, who's actually my favorite female wrestler. So yeah, that's about it. Other than that, you can find me on the socials. You can find me on the socials at Habit Forming lowercase on Instagram and Habit Forming capital HMN on Twitter.
Awesome. And I am PW Front Row on all the socials. You can find me there most of the time. You can also watch our show, The Nation's Corner, at Nation's Corner on Twitter, and The Nation's Corner on all social media. We'll be covering Elimination Chamber this Saturday night on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow everything Mission Pro Wrestling across all social media platforms. We got some really exciting news coming up. A lot of match announcements as we head into Edge of Glory coming up in April.
All right.
Thanks everybody for joining. We're going to see y'all next week.